to want to. I needed that.
Yeah, talk to him, boy.
Well, because now I have to know how important the youth is.
Yeah.
As I've known, but like people, all the youth, and it is very important. But now it's like I see, because people like that have to have that respect.
Yeah.
And you can do the same shit you're doing, do it right here.
Yeah. Well, and that's like, again, you know, like children. Like, how do you, how do you handle children? Because, you know, we're all, you know, we've all go through that stage of the, you know, just the ignorance. But again, it's like, you know, like
seems cool.
The mother, because we are a product of the mother, so it's like the mother is, I don't know, for me it almost feels like there's like this buffer for the ignorance, but at the same time when you turn into an adult, and it's like now you have the kind of the intellectual capacity, and you're like, you know, like we build nuclear weapons now, like that is our ignorance now, and like then it just perpetuates the same shit because we don't ever grow up. Because I feel like, you know, the child's spirit, there's like room for the child spirit and even the potential ignorance that might come with that. But then if the child continues just to be a child for its whole life, and we have, you know, a whole world of children running around, then that's when we get what we see. Because then the children are raising the children, and then just the cycle continues. So what do we do?
Hello, friends.
Hello. Here we are. This is we're on this Force for Nature retreat, y'all. This is our first go around, and as you can see, here we are, the two of us, just experimenting kind of the flow of what this would look like, creating an experience, and like connecting with the land, setting intentions of how we can continue to cultivate this kind of experience. And, you know, even for me, this is deeply healing, just going through this experience, reconnecting. We're at the Indiana Dunes right now, like reconnecting with the dunes and the ecosystem, and then obviously, you know, being with our boy Johnny here and having him be able to point out all the different opportunities we have to continue to do our work and healing the land, and in our different ways. You know, we've had multiple conversations now of like helping to align people to their own unique genius in the expression of that, because, you know, not everybody is real inclined to like just sit and design systems and like do that kind of work, just as not everybody is like super inclined to want to go out and like really tackle the issues of invasive species. But I think it's important, which I feel like is what we're doing here, is just creating the awareness around all of these different aspects, because then we can each find our own unique way within that is doing our work within the bigger picture of the whole work that needs to be done. And so here we are. We just decided to, you know, get a little view here. Got the Lake Michigan,
the Pure Lake
in the background. It's such a beautiful day, and we got some nice burgers waiting for us. We're gonna do on the grill. You know how we do. We got some sourdough bread and some grass-fed burgers and some, you know, just some quality ingredients. Which is a, you know, maybe just a little side note here is you can have your burgers, bro. You can have your pizza. You can have your ice cream. Just, which really comes back to just nature, just like the ingredients, the closer that you can get to nature with even the stuff that you're putting in your body, it all comes full circle. I feel like it's one of the kind of the biggest things that we share on this channel here, is it's all what we do to ourselves, we do to nature. What we do to nature, we do to ourselves. And, you know, one of the choices that literally we all have the opportunity to make every single day is what we're choosing to put into our body. And how that creates a reflection of the choices that we make with the rest of the environment and the rest of ourselves.
Very beautifully said. You know, right where we're sitting is a very special spot. And for this retreat, which it is just us, which it seems it was meant to be this for the first one, we can kind of see how this place is very, very special. Because we're not doing a whole trail today, but in this place at the Indiana Dunes, which might not be every time we do a retreat, but what it does is it gives you the sense of a journey going in here. As there's many different ecosystems in this place, and I just know in this spot where I've sit is I've had many life-changing moments. As having the lake and having the different ecosystems and the woodland and the prairie and the wetland and just going through the different avenues of nature, it's just almost naturally helps you to go through the different aspects of yourself. And I think it just is a beautiful full circle type energy. And what I've been telling people recently, my mom, even I told his girl and other people, is I'm really feeling called to really speak on, yes, taking plant medicine is very, very important and healing yourself and doing the work, but I almost feel what now is coming through to push is get out in nature by yourself. Get out in nature with friends, get out in nature with family, of course, but get out in nature by yourself, and I promise you, it is going to change everything. In creating this space, as we're right here and just like sitting with the natural world, which is sitting with yourself, is going to do deep wonders for your life and reconnect deep energy that has been maybe dormant, that needs to come up. And to kind of transition on that, which is almost a different topic, but what I do want to talk about is, I do want to talk about what happened over here.
Yeah.
Well, first to conclude on that, of just like, in this retreat of just being here and bringing people out in nature on this trail, and to really how I feel is going to do deep work, just like a plant medicine journey would do, as it is a journey. It is a journey. Now going back to this place, it was very important for me today. That is very, very special. This whole ecosystem, this whole land, this whole trail is very, very special to me. And to see the kind of invasive species that are taking over and to see the kind of elements of this land that is being harmed, I am inspired to do the work. And as I come out here and we're on the beach and we're flowing, as I notice these dune ecosystems, which are mainly a lot of native grasses and different flowers that are very fragile, very, very fragile. Many signs that like, hey, just stay on the trail, because walking off trail, as you know, we think we want to climb dunes and this and that. For these areas that are still intact, it's very important to stay off of them. It's just very important. It's a respect to the land. And as I walk out here and I notice, I hear some sounds and I look over and there's about 8 kids just rolling up the dunes off trail in areas that are very untouched and just jumping around, having no respect at all. And it was in that moment frustrating, like deeply frustrating, to see this just complete ignorance of the land and just running all over it. But what I've been learning and being in my heart and knowing how to kind of move in this, because at the end of the day, like we said at the beginning, just children, ignorant, not really knowing what to do or really what their actions are causing, how do I approach this? And I don't want to approach this with anger, but I do want to approach this. So I'm like, I'm like, fuck. Like, oh, these kids are jumping. It's like, you don't even understand the harm you are causing in the ignorance. But again, they don't understand at some level. So I roll right up and I'm kind of awkwardly just staring at them from like afar, and they're like still doing their thing and they're jumping. They're UFC battles in the middle of this fucking dune. Like, what are we doing? But whatever. I'm staring. One guy waves a little. But I notice there's this other guy who's like kind of walking. He's like feeling my energy a little. Like, what's this guy doing here? And he kind of waves at me and I go, hey, you mind coming here for a second, bud? I think I call him brother. Buddy, no. And he goes, oh yeah, what's up? I go, hey, look, bro, I do a lot of work on these dunes, and I'm not gonna lie, it's really frustrating to see you and your friends completely disrespecting and just running over all of these fragile ecosystems without a thought. Like, I see you taking pictures and the appreciation and the love that how beautiful this is and the vibe, and I'm happy to see that you're out in nature. But bro, like, we have to have a respect for land. You have to realize the harm you are causing, or at some level acknowledge it without just disrespect of even realizing our planet is dying. And legitly, these fragile ecosystems that are still left, that are intact, that are still performing vital services for all life on Earth, things like this, just ignorantly walking over these very disturbed ecosystems that are still intact, and now that you disturb them, then offers the opportunity for all these invasive species that are collapsing things all over the place to come on in. Do you understand like the harm that is? And do you understand, for me who understands that, to see just 8 kids running on these beautiful ecosystems without a thought, it hurts. And really, he was very like, yeah, like, dang, like, I'm sorry. And I wish I would have talked to the whole group, because I'm sure, I talked to him and I really hit his heart maybe, and then he goes back like, what'd that guy say? No, but if I would have talked to the whole group. But at the end of the day, sitting with it, I'm very proud of myself, because I really feel I could have went there with this dark anger of like, you fucking idiot, this and that, and all that would have done has been his dark anger would have been like, dude, screw this guy. But me coming with just my love for these ecosystems and how much I care about them and shining the light, they're like, hey, you're not respecting these and you have an ignorance. You need to realize this. You need to realize what you're doing. Well, I really feel open his heart to be like, dang, and see it different, which might unfold in an unbelievable way in the future, that he might choose a path of healing the land maybe, who knows? But the youth is very, very important. And learning how I manage that situation and how I really feel inspired him rather than neglected him to care, opened the void to like, maybe I should care and to see the natural world different, it's going to be very, very powerful. So as painful as that was, as there's still over there, jumping around, it was very important. And I think this retreat that we were meant to host for other people, the reason it was just us is the mother was just hosting us. And yeah, there's the kids. Might have to come on in, boys. I'm talking about you. Can we, get on it? Give you a testimonial. No.
Get them on the camera.
And they're going up that way. But this is what has to change, because if we have legitly no appreciation or understanding our place within the natural world, like, things are not going to be good for planet Earth. But on the other side of it, if we have this appreciation and we have this love and we have this connection and we come together and realize that we are a part of nature, as nature is an essential part of us, we're going to thrive. And it's not going to, now we have less, we're going to have so much more of everything that we want. But we have to humble ourselves and realize we are not at war against nature.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like when you really start to come to that place of appreciation, just even you saying that is like kind of laughable. Because even the whole, going back to a lot of what's going on in our world today, and even going back to the COVID times, and like literally just this fear of nature that's just been perpetuated to the point where, it's like at some level, it's still going on today, but especially during that time, it was like even going outside and like interacting, it was like nature was this harmful force that was out to get us, when in reality it's just like it's completely opposite. And that's something we're on the car ride here, I was kind of sharing a little bit of some of the challenges that I've been navigating, of seeing kind of these two different paradigms, kind of like this like crossroad, this fork in the road, where everything's kind of been this one way for so long, and we've all gotten accustomed and kind of conditioned to this one way of doing things, whether that's the way that we interact with nature, the way that we interact with each other, the financial world, the legal world, the business world, like all of these different realms of life and society and culture in the world. We've kind of been on this one path for so long, which fundamentally underlying it all is just been this foundation of fear. Because what perpetuates separation? What perpetuates the illusion of separation? And that's fear. And what are we afraid of? Are we afraid of the things outside of ourselves? What is outside of ourselves? Are we afraid of looking at the things within ourselves? So now that all of that has kind of come to this critical point, that's kind of where this crossroads, this fork in the road is. And on one side of that is, we keep doing things the same way that we've been doing things. And I feel like part of my job personally is one, fully understanding the current state of how things are and how things work and how things have been built upon. And then on the other side of that, the other way, is this kind of new world that's coming through, this new paradigm, which in a sense, the more that I sit with it and the more I do my best to understand the current state as well as see what's coming through, the more and more I'm realizing it's like this total mirror world. It's like the polarity, it's the duality. Where like on one side of this darkness. And when I say darkness, there's such a negative connotation to that, but it's light can't exist without dark. Dark can't exist without light. It's like, you know, yin and yang, like we need both to have an experience. But now this darkness has become so prevalent that it is actually being a catalyst to help us to see the light. And so on the other side of it is this opposite, where it's like all the shit that we care so deeply about, you know, our illusion of security and you know, our stable jobs and our homes and like all these things that we feel a sense of security and we place so much importance on the other side of that, those things really don't matter that much. But the things that we don't really care about, like protecting the land, nurturing relationships with ourselves, creating community, building community, the things that we place a lower importance on, those are the most important things on this other side. So just as I'm learning in the whole legal world, as I've been studying that, it's a lot of times if you just flip things 180, you'll be closer to the truth. So maybe something to meditate on that. But yeah, this feels like exactly the way that it's supposed to be. And I know personally me, I've just been really unfolding into this just deep trust in life and the way things are going. And even situations like this where it's like, you know, witnessing that from my perspective and then seeing Johnny like engage in that way and just ultimately taking that whole experience in and just even asking myself was like, you know, what is the answer? Like, how do we navigate the situation in which there is a lot of ignorance, there is a lot of stupidity, there is a lot of children that have adult bodies running around, and, you know, then we have adult children that are raising children. And so what do we do? And I feel like, you know, what we're doing is our part in that, both individually and then coming together through Force for Nature.
Yes.
And so that's, you know, that's why we're here, y'all. It's, you know, it's not that we have all of the answers or we know exactly which way to go or what thing to do, but I think the biggest thing is just coming back to, like what you were saying, is just the appreciation for nature, and then ultimately that appreciation for yourself. Because it goes hand in hand. And there's a quote that I've been saying often this week that every time I say it, it just seems to get more and more powerful. And that is, to a Christ, everyone is a Christ. To a Buddha, everyone is a Buddha. So if you are able to appreciate all of the different parts of yourself to the point where you're able to then see that in even just as simple as a blade of grass, you're able to see yourself and have that deep appreciation. It almost at that point goes without saying. It's like we don't necessarily need the rules of like, oh, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. It's almost this natural extension. It's like, why would I want to step on this fragile ecosystem here? Like, why, you know, this new kind of baby grass is coming through. Why would I want to just, you know, crush that? And so I think, you know, these things start to just come through naturally. At least that's been my experience, and even my own relationship with the world around me and nature. It's like the more I've come into myself and learned to just love all the different parts of myself, it's just been a natural extension into the relationships that I have with other people and the relationships that I have with nature and everything around me. And so I think, again, just having that within ourselves and then being able to share that in whatever way that shows up for us. Because again, you know, we're making this video and actually, like Johnny does, like getting in land and like doing the work hands-on, or, you know, creating systems or whatever that might be. So
yes,
we're here, y'all.
Beautiful.
We're here.
Yes. So I'm just watching these kids. You know, it's kind of ended off as I was just sitting there thinking, not to change it on a darker side, but nature is our mother. And if you think of your own mother, who has done everything for you, has been there for you, and has loved you through anything, and really imagine how you would feel disrespecting your mother and not giving a damn about her, even though she's done everything for you. And our inability to recognize nature as our family and as our mother has been this disconnection, and we are deeply disrespecting her at all times. And once we just shift that and we realize the connection, we will have this overwhelming of love and respect. And that is going to be very beautiful. And I know it's in every single human. I look at family right here, sorry, but they just walked down this dune, fragile dune, walked down just for two minutes to look at this, and now they're walking up it, right past the sign that says, do not walk on dune, fragile ecosystem, older people. And again, this oblivious to think I'm superior than the natural world. This is not a part of me. And it is very frustrating, but as I've learned in all of these people, like this anger is not going to just change anger. This hate is not going to just push out hate. Only light is going to do that. And still a learning process. It's not that anger and frustration is not part of this.
Yeah.
Because it's natural.
Yeah.
That's what comes out. There's
Powerful
a fire
energy.
that comes in. But like, to really change this, at the biggest core that has to be changed, love really is the way. Not for me to lead with love, but because for these people to change, for that couple to not want to walk on that ecosystem and disrupt it, is not going to be because they're angry. It's only going to be because they have a new love for the land and for nature, to where they do not want to harm it. And that comes naturally when you open up your heart. And that comes naturally when someone is in their heart, showing you and telling you the way.
Beautiful. There's one little.
Right now.
Sometimes, I remember when I was younger, I'd disrespect my mom and she slapped my ass.
Yes.
So sometimes that's what you need, because I remember after that point, I didn't do it again. Sometimes that's what you need.
And even, wow, I think of Mother Ayahuasca.
Yeah.
And I think of some of the lessons I got. I think a lot of it that's unfolded is like, hey, you have not been in your heart. That's how you need to. You care so much, as you do. I know you do, and I've seen your journey, and I'm so grateful for the love and the care and the change you're going to make. But you need a slapping to realize you have to be in your heart if you want this, because that is the only way, my young human.
The slap of
And
love.
they're walking up
to
like
lead
it's
the
just,
way. Wow.
it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a little quote that's coming through to maybe close this off, and that is, there's always going to be a fight when there is an enemy. And when there's an enemy, there's always going to be something to fight. And there's always, when there is a need to feel like you are having to struggle and endure, there's always going to be something to struggle and endure against. And when there's always something to struggle and endure against, then the need for struggle and endurance is always going to be present. But love is a unifying force.
Yes, it is the way. It's like fighting for peace. It's like shouting for silence.
Yeah, there it is.
Audible.
There it is. Audible. Got him.
Yeah, got him. Thank
All right.
you, y'all.
Thanks for tapping in.
Thank you.
See you very soon.
Mother Gaia.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Father Son is here as
Thank
well.
you. We're all here.
Beautiful. All right, I gotta get out of here.